friends, and thank you for coming to hang out with me today on Elevate with Erica. So, I want to share with you some realizations that I've had recently as my 14-year-old son is in the middle of his golf season. So, last Christmas, Aaron received golf lessons as a gift. We got them scheduled for those early spring, I believe it was. Now, mind you, Aaron had never played golf before, but had showed interest. So my husband does play, and he had taken him to the range prior to, and his papa played as well. So just 6 months ago, Aaron had never even played a round of golf before. And now he's playing in his first year of high school and with the varsity team. So I think you can understand why I'm super proud of him. But there's just one problem. I've noticed that Aaron doesn't feel super proud of himself, and he expects to be a pro today. Now, I know that I probably have very few golfers tuning in, but every golfer I've spoken to about this has said the same thing, that it is a frustrating sport, and that one day you're on fire and the next day you're not, and you always want to be better, and you have to learn to shake it off every hole and not let the frustration get to you, yada, 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 right? But telling this to a 14-year-old, it basically is going in one ear and out the other. Aaron still expects to be a pro today, to be getting the scores that the older kids on the team with a year or three under their belt are getting, right? Because he's playing with freshmen all the way up to seniors. And he expects to not only get that score that they're getting, but to also get that every single time he plays. He definitely plays better when it's not a school match, which obviously highlights the pressure that he's putting on himself when he stops looking at it like fun and more like a pressure-filled game of golf. And by the way, I just want to insert this. I'm still learning all the golf lingo. I'm a new golf mom here. I already stand corrected that it's not a golf game. It's a golf match, I was told on my social media. So if I say anything outside of your typical golf lingo, please feel free to correct and also forgive me. I'm new here. So I reminded him at his last match, I'm like, dude, you gotta get out of your head, because you get to get out of school early, right? He's leaving school hour and a half earlier some days. You get to get out of school early to go play golf. Have fun out there. But still, he ended up very visibly frustrated and disappointed in himself on the last 3 holes. I haven't observed one other player out there react the way that Aaron does to that level of frustration over a bad shot. I don't know the right thing to do here. There's no parenting handbook on this, but I keep telling him how proud I am of him, even though he looks back at me with this face of, you can't be serious. And he will often say, I'm horrible. And it's heartbreaking to watch as his mama, because I really am so incredibly proud of him. You know, for me, in high school, I did my best to blend in. I was not in the popular crowd. I did not enjoy high school. I would not want to go back and relive the way that it was. I wanted to be kind to everyone, and I just wanted everyone to be kind to me. I did join the cheerleading squad, but only because some of my close girlfriends were doing it with me at the time. And then once I lost touch with that set of friends, I quit. I didn't have the courage to do it without them. So let me tell you about what these golf matches are like and why I stand in awe of not just my son, but all the kids that I'm watching. Because each one of them gets up there in front of the other kids in their group and hits the ball. It's complete silence. They're getting up individually, right? It's complete silence. There's no yelling like there would be watching my kids playing baseball. There's no chatter from the parents on the sidelines. There's no commotion from all the players on the field. There's added pressure because all eyes are on you. And in Aaron's case, 6 months ago, not even having played a round of golf, he's got older kids watching him. We all know the pressures of high school already, right? He's got those older kids watching him that are better, that have more experience, and Aaron knows it. And let me just tell you that I wish I could say that high school Erica would be able to do that, but she wouldn't have. I just didn't have the courage. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want people to laugh at me, whisper about me. I didn't want to mess up in front of anyone. So if there was a chance that I would, then count me out. But can you imagine if we didn't do anything we couldn't do perfectly? If there was a chance of a screw up, then we didn't do it. Can you imagine everything that you would miss out on? I mean, think back on your life and just consider that, because I may not even have my kids if I thought that I had to be the perfect parent with all the perfect answers on day one. I wouldn't have applied for that government job as director of an HR department, having never worked in an HR department before. I wouldn't have taught group fitness this past summer if I thought I couldn't remember the moves wrong on some occasions. I wouldn't have started this podcast if I thought that I could never fumble my words or pronounce something incorrectly. But I look at Aaron out there, all eyes on him, getting ready to tee off. Silence is filling the air. And he's trying to hit this tiny little white ball right down the middle of the fairway on the varsity team with these kids that have been out there. And I'm just so incredibly proud. So why can't he be? And I have to say that I've come a long way today from high school Erica, who was afraid to screw up in front of others. My kids in general don't see that side of who I used to be. They see me going for it, trying new things, working in my unconventional career choices, regardless of who understands or who's supportive of me. But if I'm being honest, there are still some things that I want to try and I don't, out of fear of screwing up in front of others. And one of those, and this may sound ridiculous, is bartending. I think I've talked about it here before. I've always wanted to bartend, but I've never bartended. I don't know how to work a bar, where to find things, where to go, how to make every fancy drink someone may order. What if I do the ratio wrong? Will they think I'm stupid? Will they get upset? Will they tell everyone on social media how awful the bartender is at wherever I'm working, right? These are the ridiculous worries and pressures that I put on myself about getting my first bartending gig, nearly in my 40s. But it's just something that I've always wanted to try. But look at Aaron out there, just killing it. Not because he hit that ball right down the middle of the fairway, but because he dared to swing it all. So like I said, there's no handbook on this for us parents, but I just continue trying to replace his negative thoughts with thoughts like what I'm sharing with you today, in hopes that it starts to stick, in hopes that we can rewire what his brain defaults to. If anyone has any parenting advice for me in situations like this, you can go right on ahead and feel free to share with me, by the way. I think that sometimes we learn some of our greatest lessons from our children, from just watching children. And what I learned from watching Aaron during his golf matches these past couple weeks is the message that I wanted to share with you today. And that is that the goal is not to swing perfectly. It is to dare to swing it all. Don't miss out on trying things because you won't be perfect. Don't wait to celebrate yourself until everything is perfect. Celebrate getting in the game. I mean, if I could go back to my high school days, I wouldn't have quit cheerleading. Just because I didn't want to look stupid out there without my friends. I would have tried out for the soccer team. A lot of people are just sitting on the sidelines in life. But if you're here listening to Elevate with Erica, then I know that you want more out of life than a warm bench seat. And I think many of us have something we'd like to try and that we are scared to suck at. And if not that, then there's some of us who are out there in the game but aren't stopping to pat ourselves on the back once in a while because we're not perfect at it yet, because someone else is doing it better, because we don't think we're worthy of praise, but you are. And if you're someone who knows you've been on the sidelines of life too long, I want you to decide today that you'll get up and get in the game. Go for the purpose and the passions and the interests that are on your heart. Because it seems incredibly sad, right? To live your one life here not going for it, doesn't it? And maybe it's something as simple as bartending, like my example, or maybe it's signing up for a class, or maybe it's picking up a sport, or maybe it's as big as building your own business. Just don't die with those dreams on your heart, because you were not put here to be a spectator. I refuse to believe that. And we all have things that call us. It's up to us to answer. So I say this to you just like anything else that I say on this podcast. It's not from a place of I have it all figured out, but it's from a place of I needed to hear this message in my life too. So this is for us, because Aaron's out there swinging imperfectly, and I couldn't be more proud. So where am I afraid to even swing in my own life? You guys have heard me touch on the tough year that Aaron had this past school year, and golf has been a huge part of the positive turnaround that I've seen in him since this summer. What if he had been afraid to join the golf team because he wasn't a pro? What if he had been afraid to even swing? How different would this school year be if we had continued down the path that he was on last year? How different would his life be? Golf was the redirection that he needed. So think about that in your own life. The thing that you don't want to try because you might screw up might be the redirection that you needed. It might introduce you to people who are the redirection that you needed. It might open up other doors to things that are the redirection that you needed, that lead to the path that God or the universe, whatever you believe in, wants you to take. And if you're thinking, Erica, I don't see how signing up for that thing is going to have that kind of divine impact on my whole life, well, I want you to just take a moment and think about someone in your life who you can't imagine your life without, outside of your children. What one event, if it didn't happen, what one thing would have led to you never having met that person? And if I use my husband as an example in this, if I hadn't gone to that sold out Cole Swindell concert without a ticket in hopes that someone would see poor pitiful me behind the rope and give me one, then I never would have met my husband, who ultimately did see poor pitiful me and find a ticket, by the way. That one experience changed the course of my life. All it takes is one experience to change yours. So don't underestimate the power of just getting off the sidelines and getting in the game, even if you have no idea how to play yet. During my workout this morning, the trainer, who is my favorite on the home fitness platform that I use, Amwala Caesar, he said, if you want to run faster, you have to run faster. If you want to jump higher, you have to jump higher. And it sounds like, well, duh, on the surface, doesn't it? It sounds like your initial instinct would be to think, well, that's easier said than done, Erica. That sounds too simple, doesn't it? And I get it, because that was my first thought too. But what if it really is that simple? Because I think sometimes we confuse simple with easy. And I didn't say it's easy, but what if it really is that simple? If you want to run faster, you can't just continue running at that comfortable pace that you've been coasting at. You got to start running faster. Little by little, imperfectly and out of breath, until you've raised your own bar to meet that new level of comfort, and then you rinse and repeat. You can't just be out here hoping to get faster, right? And Aaron's not just hoping to be a pro golfer. without sharpening his skills. Because I actually looked over while I was driving him to school earlier this week, and he was watching golf tips on YouTube. If he wants to golf better, he has to learn how to golf better. It really is just that simple. I just can't be hoping to be the best bartender ever without trying it, right? So what is it in your life that you want to be better at, or that you just want to try it all? Stop coasting in comfort. Stop warming the bench. I want us to get up and get in the game. Because if you want to jump higher, you have to jump higher. I hope that you were not coming here today, by the way, for parenting answers, because I'm definitely still working on getting Aaron to be proud of himself for just getting in the game. But I hope what you're leaving with is some realizations from calling your own self out. Where aren't you swinging because you can't swing perfectly? Where are you coasting because you're not putting in the work to do better? Because we can't confuse compassion for ourselves and the enemy, which is those limiting beliefs in our head telling us that our life is good as it is. We got to know the difference, because there's a lot of quotes and memes that I see out there, and they sound really good, but they're just giving us permission to sit on the sidelines, and I want more for you. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend or on your social media, because your support and your effort in getting more eyes on this show is so appreciated. And also, if you have anything that you want to share with me, if anything came up for you in this episode or anything in general, if you're on my podcast platform, then you can just head down to the show notes and you'll see that text feature. By the way, I won't know who sends the text unless you include that in your message. And if you're on YouTube, then you can go down and leave a comment below or reach out to me on social media anytime. Thank you guys for spending time with me today on Elevate with Erica. I hope that Aaron's story gives you something to reflect on, not just as a parent, but as a person who's out there living life and imperfectly swinging at things, trying new experiences. If you're waiting to have it all figured out before you step up, then you're going to be waiting a long time and missing out on so much. Because the truth is, life doesn't reward the spectators. Life rewards the players, the ones who aren't afraid to take a shot, no matter how unsure or unprepared they feel. And if Aaron can stand out there on the golf course, all eyes on him, still learning, still growing, then so can you. And friends, we all have our own version of that golf swing, don't we? Maybe it's starting that project that you've been dreaming about, finally making time for that passion, or stepping into an entirely new role in life. But here's what I want you to leave with today. The goal isn't to hit that perfect shot every time. The goal is to dare to swing at all. If you want to jump higher, you have to start jumping. Imperfectly, clumsily, but you have to start. And remember that just getting in the game deserves to be celebrated. I believe in you, and I believe in our potential to get out of our comfort zone and into the arena where real life happens. So, what's your next swing? Tell me that. That would be a great way to respond to that text feature or reach out to me on social media. What's your next swing? Keep showing up, keep swinging, and don't be afraid to celebrate your own progress, no matter how messy or imperfect it looks. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I will see you next time on Elevate with Erica, where we will keep leaning into the uncomfortable and pushing ourselves to grow and living life in the driver's seat. Until next episode, friends.